pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Please take your seats and welcome to the Sarasota Memorial Hospital Board meeting. I have a comment that I must read, that we read at all our public meetings. Any citizen desiring to address the hospital board should turn in a speaker card to the board secretary. Comments will be heard in the public comment section of the agenda. Speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. The chair may find it necessary to limit the time for comments in the interest of time. Vendors, suppliers, or other persons seeking hospital contracts awarded on a competitive basis are reminded that their ability to address the board may be restricted by the terms of the invitation for bid, request for proposal, or other purchasing criteria. Lastly, the board has established a claims adjustment review panel comprised of representatives of the board, medical staff, administration, legal counsel to review and negotiate the settlement of claims. Accordingly, the board will not entertain comments or discuss or negotiate claims at this meeting. If I can just comment, Patricia Ryan is not here with us today. She's one of the board members representing Southern District. Her mother is seriously ill, is at the Venice Hospital in Chapel Creek. For that and his invitation. But I did want to mention that Patricia has an excused absence. And if I may, I'd like to introduce for the audience's benefit the members of the board and those that are seated here at the dais. I'll start with our Chief of Staff for the Sarasota campus, Dr. Jonathan Hoffberger. We also have Dr. Jefferson, Chief of Staff of the Venice Hospital, who's joining us via the WebEx program. Dr. Jim Fiorica is the Chief Medical Officer for the hospital system. Sharon Wexford Peters is the representative, I get this confused, Central District or at large? Excuse me, Sharon at large. Brett Reiner is representing the at large also. Brad Baker represents the Northern District. David Verinder is the CEO of the hospital system. I'm Trenton Hudson. I'm representing the at-large district, seat number 2. Caroline Kalish is their Chief Legal Officer. Greg Carter represents the Southern District. Bridget Fiorici represents the Central District. And Victor Rohi represents the Northern District. And our board secretary is Karen Marshall, back here in the back. So, again, we're glad that y'all are all here. Our meetings are open, and we welcome your participation in the in your hospital system. So, with that being said, I'd like to ask for approval of the orders of the day, and I would like to make one exception. I would like to delete Section 5 on the agenda. That person is not able to be with us and will be recognized as a meeting. So with that change to the agenda, I would ask for approval of the orders of the day. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
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 Thank you. Oh, I am so sorry, but let me finish this. Motion passed. Sarah Lodge, my apologies, Sarah Lodge, who also represents the Central District, is joining us on WebEx today. Apologies, Sarah. Next item of business is the approval of minutes of meeting of May 15th. Got a motion from Mr. Carter. Second by Ms. Reiner. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes.
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 Thank you. Motion carries. Number 4 is board reports, and there are no board reports today. Moving to item 6, medical staff reports, and I'm calling on Dr. Jim Fiorico with any staff reports. No medical staff. From the chief of staff of the main campus, Dr. Hoffman.
I would like to ask
for the microphone, please. And again, for the audience, we're getting microphones for everyone next month. They will be installed. So
I would ask for a motion approving Sarasota Memorial, Sarasota delineation of privileges as amended for the advanced practicing professionals in emergency medicine and for wound care, both as recommended by the SMH Sarasota Medical Executive Committee.
So moved.
your second. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion say yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Sarah. The motion passes. And just for the audience's information, a lot of the work that we do is conducted in committee meetings that we have during the morning time period. And so when these reports come in at this board meeting, there's been a lot of discussion back and forth on those items. So it may look like we're not really addressing the issue, but I will tell you that committee meetings, with the exception of quality, are open to the public to attend, but otherwise, these motions have been fully discussed. Any further?
That is all, Mr. Chair.
All right, Dr. Jefferson from the Venice campus.
Chris, you're on mute.
Dr. Jefferson, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Dr. Jefferson.
Okay, we have on CNN, they say we have a technical difficulty and we will return in just a. And someone call them?
I'm doing it.
You're doing it right now? So bear with us. So while we had this little break, I will just share with you that yesterday was Father's Day, a special holiday, and I did a little research. Do y'all know what the most popular holiday on our calendar is? No, Christmas Day is the most popular. You know what the second is popular? Is Mother's Day is the second. So where do you think Father's Day is? Father's Day is number 20. Well, I don't know how many, but Father's Day is number 20. You can't Google it. And I think I saw on the list, Arbor Day is like number 14. So, you know where we rank. Okay, what do we have? Or Jim, you want to go and make the motions for them?
Yes, he just called me. He says his microphone isn't working,
We didn't even get them one to.
so I can do that. But on behalf of SMH Venice, Dr. Jefferson, I recommend to approve SMH Venice policies, guidelines, procedures, and forms.
I've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Schreiner, seconded by Mr. Carter. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call for the vote. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, thank you. We go on to item number 7, the Secretary's report. Ms. Fiorico.
For Monday, July 17th, 2023, 8 to 9 a.m. will be the Governance Committee. 9 to 10:30 is the Joint Finance Audit Committee. 10:30 to noon is Quality Committee. Noon to 12:30 is the closed session of the hospital board meeting. 12:30 to 2, financial review, board issues, and board lunch. And 2 to 4 is the public hospital board meeting.
Thank you. Next item is the Treasurer's report, Mr. Carter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move approval of the charity care for the month ending May 31st, 2023, in the amount of $45,780,000.
Thanks, recommendation, motion, is there a second? Sharon seconds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say yes. Opposed, motion carries.
That concludes round.
All right. Our next item is our CFO, Jeff Lindbacher, to present the financial highlights for next month.
Okay, good afternoon. This is financial highlights for the district through May 2023, so 8 months through our fiscal year so far. Promise it's on camera, so I can't see.
I don't have another joke in my right. So,
We have,
all right.
okay, I'll start and then I'll go through. So this is first page for the system, total revenue in the rating agency format. The bar graphs to the left are the month of May. You see actual operating revenues of $153,285,000 versus the budget, which is the orange bar, of $124,348,000. Fiscal year to date on the right, we have $1,158,605,000 in revenues versus budget of $1,009,684 for the year. Next page, please. Total expenses, again for the system through May. For the month, we had $144,666,000 of expenses versus a budget of $118,829,000. Fiscal year to date, $1,091,131 versus a budget of $954,874. $94 million, pardon me, $874,000 for the budget of total expenses. One beat me to the punch. Back one slide. Maybe it worked. It must have worked that time. Operating income for the system, ratings format for the month of May, $8,619,000 versus a budget of $5,519,000. That's an operating margin of 5.6% versus a budgeted operating margin of 4.4%. Year to date for operating income, we're at $67,474,000 versus a budget of $54,810,000. That's an actual operating margin for the year of 5.8% versus an operating margin budget of 5.4%. Thank you. For the hospitals, we move on to statistics. These are all going to be year-to-date numbers for the next several slides. We have average daily occupancy for both hospitals, 882 versus a budget of 749. That's a length of stay, if you look at the boxes on the lower left, 4.77 for the Sarasota campus, and for the Venice campus, the length of stay is 3.90. Bars to the right, admission and observation cases combined, 49,108 for the year versus a budget of 42,636. Next slide. Surgery cases, 21,029 actual for the year versus budget of 18,964. And then our births for the year, 2,941 versus a budget of 3,014. Back. Our outpatient registrations year to date on the left, 394,930, pardon me, versus a budget of 373,555. And then finally, on statistics, our emergency care registrations, 118,919 for the year actual versus budget of right at 100,000. Last slide is case mix index. The 4 bars all the way to the right show our fiscal year to date through May. Our Sarasota campus all case mix index is 1.83. Our Sarasota case mix index for Medicare patients only is 1.89. And then for Venice, our all case mix index is 1.57, and our Medicare case mix index is 1.61. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Jeff. Any questions for Jeff before we sit down? No questions. We'll go to committee reports. Mr. Carter, Commission and Planning.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Commission and Planning Committee met this morning, and there is one update on the agenda from the board. Radiology services across the Sarasota Memorial Healthcare System was presented. Debbie Bohannon, Executive Director of Radiology Services at SMH, began her presentation detailing the history of radiology, followed by an interview of our relationship with Radiology Associates in Florida and Radiology Partners. Then, Ms. Bohannon reviewed the expansive services offered by SMHCS, the equipment required for those services, and the significant volume of patients we serve. SMH continues to evaluate options for additional opportunities to meet the community's radiology needs. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Any questions for the Mission Planning? The next meeting that we had this morning was the Governance Effectiveness Committee, and since I'm the chair of that committee, I'm going to pass the gavel over to Brad Baker, who is the vice chair of the board, so that I may give a report of the Governance Effectiveness Committee. We met this morning, we had 3 items on our agenda. The first item was a review of board policies. We have a number of different board policies dealing with lots of different topics, and it's the board's policy is to review them every 3 years. And we reviewed a number of them this morning, a 3-year cycle, and the committee recommends the approval of the executive succession plan policy, the board guidelines for decision-making process, board policy regarding the board's role. The 4th one was transparency in public reporting. 5th one was setting the performance goals for the CEO. And the last one was safety net services and other community benefit programs. The governance committee recommends approval of those 6 items. Mr. Chairman, and we have.
The Chris can't table.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying yes.
Yes. The second item on our agenda this morning in the governance meeting was a discussion of independent legal counsel for the board. We had a robust discussion around this topic, also involving discussion of public requests for information policies. The board felt like this was something that needed to be examined further, and we will be discussing this, and we've asked management to come back with a presentation involving the history of how we got to where we are in terms of our legal representation, the role of the legal counsel, and also to look at best practices of hospitals from around the country that are unique like ours. We're one of the few hospital boards that are elected in partisan elections from the county. So that meeting will be held at 8 o'clock, as Bridget discussed in her report next July, or this coming July meeting. The third item that we had on the agenda was a discussion of the board calendar for the balance of the year. We've also asked management to come back to the governance committee with a recommendation and proposal for the balance of the year in our calendar meeting dates. That is the conclusion of my report. All right. Any questions? We've gathered that. Turn the microphone over to our president, David Behringer, for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm going to start today, like I do each month, looking at our organizational report card. We have 5 different areas that we take a look at on this, including service, people, quality, finance, and growth. So I'll go through each one of those. In the area of service, we have a goal of having our likelihood of recommending 8 out of our 10 business units being added equal scores are exceeding the 75th percentile. I'm happy to report that we're actually 10 out of 10 this month, so exceeding our goal, and I'll show you the details on that in a minute. The second area we have is people, and we have our goal of having our new hire retentions, which is our percentage of regular and full-time and part-time employees that are hired during FY 2023, still employed by the end of the fiscal year. Goal is 83% or higher. I'm happy to report we are trending higher now at 87.92%. In the quality area, we have our infection prevention goal is our combined overall standardized infection rate being at 0.8 or less. Happy to report we are at 0.66. And just to orient you on that number, 1.0 would be the expected of the national average, so we already set our goal pretty significantly below what the experience would be. So very, very proud of our team for coming in where they are. The area of finance, we have our organizational finances. We look at it as our operating margin. You heard our CFO, Jeff Limbacher, report on this a minute ago. We have our goal of making a 5% operating margin. Happy to report we are trending slightly higher than that, 5.3%. And then finally, in the growth area, we have 2 different goals that we look at. The first being inpatient admissions and observation outpatients. The goal is to be at 61,950 for the year. We are trending higher than that at 71,354. The second goal on the growth is outpatient registrations, and we have a goal of 1.3 million outpatient registrations, also trending higher on that as well at 1.3 million. So going into a little deeper dive into the patient experience report card, just to orient you on the slide that's in front of you. There on the left-hand side are the 10 different areas that we survey for our likelihood of recommending. The middle column is our actual score. The next one over is the national median score, and then finally the far right is the 75th percentile score. And as I said a minute ago, we're pleased to announce that we're hitting an added greater than 75th percentile score in all 10 areas. So moving on, Sarasota Memorial performs its 2,000th TAVR procedure. So kudos to the structural heart team at SMH Sarasota, who recently performed their 2000s life-saving TAVR, which is transcatheter aortic valve replacement. The procedure is a minimally invasive option for treating aortic stenosis. Sarasota Memorial was the first hospital in Southwest Florida to earn TAVR certification from the American College of Cardiology, and our own Dr. Hoffberger assisted many of these. Thank you, Dr. Hoffberger. Next up is our Firefighter initiative, raises awareness of cancer risk. Cancer is the leading cause of death among firefighters. In an effort to inform and protect our community's fire rescue workers, Sarasota Memorial's Brian D. Jellison Cancer Institute is teaming up with local fire departments to raise awareness about occupational hazards of the profession and to share important safeguards and steps firefighters can take to reduce their exposure to hazardous and cancer-causing agents. And in that picture, you see Dr. Richard Brown, who's the medical director for the Brian D. Jellison Cancer Institute, and I believe in the audience. So, Dr. Brown, thank you, as always, for your support. Sarasota Memorial Foundation awards thousands in healthcare scholarships. The Sarasota Memorial Healthcare Foundation recently awarded Duncan Finley Health Career Scholarships and the Heather G. Miller Health Career Scholarships to 5 outstanding local high school students who plan to pursue careers in healthcare. Each student will receive up to $10,000 to help offset the cost of college tuition and expenses over the next 4 years. For 30 years, the scholarships have provided a total of 773,666 seniors, helping to meet the growing demand for healthcare professionals. And Stacey Corley, thank you for your team for continuing to make that happen. Saluting our nurses, PCTs, and MSTs of excellence. Sarasota Memorial, SMH Sarasota and SMH Venice honored their nurses and PCTs, MSTs of excellence during Nurses Week last month. Nursing leaders at each campus recognized staff for their exceptional care. Pictured above are some of our many nurses and techs who were recognized at the special ceremonies, which were among the number of events held to celebrate nurses. We want to take a moment and just remind everyone that hurricane season is now underway and it's now time to prepare. We always like to be over prepared and hope prepare for the worst and hope for the best. But keep this hurricane threat in mind. You can see a list in front of you of all the different things that professionals recommend that you do to prep for a hurricane. It's also on the website scgov.net or on our own website, smh.com. The SMH podcast discusses robotic surgery and smart implants. We're lucky to have Dr. Ed Skolarski, who's an orthopedic surgeon with Kennedy White in Sarasota, who performed the first robotic smart knee replacement in Florida at SMH in 2022. Dr. Skolarski discusses how he has seen smart implants help many of his patients and explain how they work. And I would just encourage everyone to go on and listen to our podcast. And Mr. Chair, that is my report. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Ed? Thank you. We'll move on. Next item is number 12. That is consent agenda, and we did not have any item on the consent agenda. So we'll move on to number 13, and that is for public comment. Let me just remind everyone in the audience that our board has established guidelines for public comments. Speakers must identify themselves by stating their full name before beginning their comments. And also, please identify if you're a resident of Sarasota County or where. Speaking time is limited to 3 minutes to allow for maximum participation, and speakers should name the timer that will be visible on the screen behind me. Please be respectful of other speakers by adhering to the time limit. We have 10 speakers who have signed up with the yellow cards, and they are in the same order as I received them. And just quickly, our civility and decorum policies: only individuals who fill out a speaker card are allowed to speak, are recognized by the chair. Comments during the public comment section shall be related to hospital issues only. Personal attacks, use of language, or profanity of any kind will not be tolerated. References to the Holocaust or other items such as that will not be tolerated. No person attending a board meeting is to harass, annoy, or otherwise disturb any other person in the room. Clapping, whistling, heckling, gesturing, loud conversation, or other disruptive behaviors prohibited. All electronic devices should be turned off or otherwise silenced. And while participants may come and go from the room, but if your name is called and you're not here, your card will go back at the stack. So, if there's any other comments, we welcome them. You can still sign up, and we'll begin with Kevin Miller, to be followed by Michael Berger, to be followed by Tom Peter. Mr. Miller.
My name is Dr. Kevin Miller.
Hang on 1 second. We need to change that to 3 minutes, please. There you go. Okay, well,
My name is Dr. Kevin Miller. I'm a semi-retired doctor from Venice. I've had my clinic, Paradise Family Health Care, for 45 years in the area, including pandemic years. Finally sold my clinic to our physicians last year.
could you please speak into the microphone a little bit sharper? Thank you.
Is that better?
No, much better.
I'm here today to talk about the importance of our public hospital. SMH Venice was instrumental in helping us treat our patients, keep our staff safe during the pandemic. The hospital provided us with guidance and support throughout the pandemic. They helped us get the necessary equipment and supplies. They helped train our staff and how to use them. They helped us get vaccinated when the vaccine was finally available. They also helped us develop protocols for safely treating patients with COVID-19. I'm grateful for the work of the Sarasota Memorial and Venice staffs. We went above and beyond to care for our patients during the pandemic. They worked long hours and they were often exposed to the virus. But they never wavered in their commitment to providing good patient care. I'm also grateful for the work of the SMH Board of Directors. They made sure that the hospital had the resources it needed to respond to the pandemic. They also made sure that the hospital was safe for patients and staff. I've heard that some fringe groups or fringe activist groups are suggesting that we privatize SMH. I urge you to oppose this proposal. Privatization would be a disaster for the community. When we privatized Venice Shore Point Hospital, it did not survive. The hospital was sold to a for-profit company which cut costs and services. And as a result, the hospital was unable to attract and retain qualified staff and eventually closed its doors. Privatization put our community at risk. It would also lead to higher costs, lower quality care, less access to care for those who need it most. I urge everyone to support and stand up for our public hospital. SMH is an essential part of our community. Provides high quality care for everyone who needs it, regardless of the ability to pay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller, or Dr. Next is Michael Berger, followed by Tom Peter, followed by, and I apologize if I mispronounce it again, Nishwander.
Hi, I'm Michael Berger.
I should tell you, Michael Berger was a neighbor of mine, and his nickname was Mr. Mayor. So, Mr. Mayor.
Not any longer. I should be running for president. So my name is Michael Berger, as you obviously know. I'm here representing and speaking about my deceased wife, Joan Taylor. She's not with us for about a year or a month now. She was a lively, healthy, able person that could get up and do whatever she wanted. We received our COVID vaccine shots here at the hospital, both of us. Shortly after that, she started getting all sorts of issues, her heart, her lungs, her blood pressure, just one thing after another. I mean, for a 90-year-old, things start to happen to you right now. But I also got the vaccine, I also had issues myself. All of a sudden, it's slowing up, and all of a sudden, taking some medications to stop it. It's all documented in your records here, so I'm going to go back and leave it, I guess. My point is, I'm trying to make sure you guys open up, be forthright and honest about what's going on, where it is, where it's going. I see too many things that are happening that's pushed under the rug. That's the purpose of standing for the time. She went through major, and this is wonderful institution, wonderful hospital, God knows. We were here for hundreds of days. I don't know how many visits on for a year. It was just crazy. But that's what I'm looking for, just looking for more transparency for you people, to let the public know what's going on. Because everyone seems to hide it, push on. And then one other thing, a little off the record, something else that happened, three largest manufacturers. And the subject, we talked about. They brought up things that happened to them as well. Maybe some of you were aware of this. They said that they were not happy with a lot of things going on, including the vaccine issues that are going in. And I think you should be aware of that. You'll see it. Stop getting donations in the very near future, because that's what they said, shop. Anyway, I think that's the open your hearts, help people out instead of push yourself on people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks.
Next, Tom Peter, followed by Vicky Meshwander, followed by Cynthia McCabe. Welcome, Mr. Peter.
Yes. Good day. My name is Tom Peter, and I lived in Sarasota, Florida for 35 years. My extended family has been patients here one time or another, and several of my extended family has been doctors or staff here at the hospital. We live in Sarasota because this is a great place for public institutions. And this is, hospital board is one of those institutions. It's essential. I'm glad to see that the board is moving forward from the epidemic. COVID. It's been a long, hard struggle for many, many families. We managed to cope. It's tough. But we need to move forward from that and continue to plan for the next stage. I'm also impressed with your dedication to openness and fiscal responsibility in this board. And I want to compliment you on the fact that if a patient has any kind of a problem, that we've seen come up before the board or something like that those patients can get, and you organize a system for those patients to get immediate staff conversations. We all too often will rely on an AI or computer generated system that's supposed to help those people when they have a helpline, a call or something like that. Personal touch, especially when these cases that you're talking about are all individual that are affected so much by the medicine we provide. That personal touch is really essential. Continue. I've had the luck to be visiting a small town out west. I've spent some time there in the summer. And I've gotten to know a lot of people on the hospital board there. A couple of my friends at board just had to kind of quit because the volatility and the discussions got politicized, ugly. That's a small town, but it has a good hospital. And the problem in that hospital board has become so acute. You can see some of the doctors not being there anymore. Patients are starting to go elsewhere, and it's critical. So I can't tell you how critical it is to don't let this hospital get down that bad. Yes, it's a small hospital, didn't have the resources this hospital has. But when the board goes south, so to speak, it's not a good thing. So, with strategic planning and everything like that, just kind of comes to us, reaching all and the board gets dysfunction. So I'm here to thank you for your service, that you folks have taken the time and effort to do this. We need those great hospitals, public hospitals, it's an essential thing. Your work is very important. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Peter. Could you tell us the name of the town in Colorado?
No, it's in Idaho. Driggs, Idaho.
Where?
Driggs, Idaho.
Okay, yeah. Thank you so much. Appreciate your comments. Next is Vicky Neuschwander. Okay, thank you so much. Next is Cynthia McCabe, followed by Rose Ubnet, followed by Ruth Brandon.
A little politically challenged here.
That's okay, welcome back.
Hi, I'm Cynthia McKay, and I'm a relatively long-term resident of Sarasota County, Sarasota City, and a longtime user of the services of Sarasota Memorial. And I'm purely here today to provide my expression of support for this hospital. I was alarmed when I read the reports of how last month's board meeting went. The people that were not even, members or residents of this county who showed up, and the attempts to politicize issues that I know you all take very seriously. I too, I would echo other, speakers so far. I believe that it will seriously damage this community if this hospital doesn't continue to have the reputation that it has for transparency, for a lack of politics in its governing of the hospital. And I too am very worried about what I hear about the rumors of an effort to privatize this organization. So I love what you guys do. I know you're always working to improve it. I know there are always areas that need improvement in any organization, but I just wanted to express my support for what you are doing.
Thank you very much for your comments. Next is Rose Dugnet, followed by Ruth Brandywine, followed by Richard Stanton.
Good afternoon. My name is Rose Dugnet, and I'm here today on behalf of my husband, Henry, and talk about this condition.
Yeah, Ms. Dugnet, where do you live?
Bradenton. Due to our age, we both accept and received the Moderna shot in February and March 21st, and Pfizer booster in January 22. My husband has SMH hospitalization May 2021, April 22, July 22, August 22, and also Doctor Hospital at the end of September. Where they were very concerned about his heart and an infection. He had a sepsis twice, a threatening urine infection after each of his COVID shot. We had acute, he had acute onset back weakness that required neurosurgical intervention, and then had complicated by threatening problem of the spine with bleeding, and had to have surgery the following day. He also had deep venous thrombosis in what's called the vessel of his leg in August 22. He had previously clear cardiac evaluation in 2018, but in September 22 had elevated troponins and evidence of new heart damage in October 22. He had new onset altered mental status and new stroke found on the CT and MRI of the brain September 22. After almost 4 months in rehab and 6 weeks in assisted living, thank God he finally came home and is under my assisted living. His doctor has strongly suggested that no further COVID shot should be allowed, and he finally gradually improved and had no further UTI, no MS, and no hospitalization. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next is Ruth Brandywine, followed by Richard Stanler, followed by Laura Hartman.
Thank you. My name is Ruth Brandywine. Everybody gets it wrong.
Okay.
I am a longtime resident of Sarasota, and today I just wanted to inform you that the Sarasota League of Women Voters, which is a nonpartisan, 100-year-old organization, has started an observer corps for the hospital, as similar to the one that we have in the school board. We have people coming every month. We simply take notes on what has been said, and then we report back to our members through our website. We have about 300 members in town. So I just wanted to inform you that either I or other members of our team will be here every month, except for maybe people are on vacation. Just wanted to say that. On a personal note, I do want to mention that in my partner, just came out of the hospital about a month ago, for hip replacement surgery. I couldn't have been more pleased. Our doctor, Dr. Thomas, informed me within 10 minutes after the operation that the operation went well, it was successful, really eased my heart. They kept him overnight just for observation. They probably didn't have to, but they did. They had him walking down the corridor that evening, and I picked him up the next day, and everything was fine. So another example, he's been in and out of this hospital a number of times over the years, and we've always been very, personally, very happy with our service. This is aside from, not speaking as the lead now, I'm speaking as an individual. That's all I wanted to say, and thank you for your service. Hope to see you again.
Ms. Brandon, thank you for coming, and I should also please express our thanks to your group. The League of Women Voters is one of the few groups in Sarasota County that have interviewed all the hospital board members during the election time. So,
Yes, if I may just add, we do have our vote 411, which is online, and we do interview all members. Not everyone has agreed to interview, but we hope to have everybody so that we can provide, we don't make any recommendation. We just provide the information that we're given and provide the biographies of the individuals. Thank you.
well, again, thank you for that. Next is Richard Stammer, followed by Laura Hartman, followed by Dr. Sherry Weinstein. Well,
thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm Richard Stammer. I'm a 20-year resident of Sarasota County. It's been about 6 months since I had a chance to come down and comment to the board. I've been kind of busy. I've been attending a lot of school board meetings, and I gotta say, this is so refreshing.
thank you for saying
It's almost boring, and I'm happy for that. With all due respect for the good work that you all are doing. I just want to say 2 things. First, I have a lot of experience at Sarasota Memorial Hospital with family and friends that I won't go into. But I am so pleased that this hospital continues to be run with its guiding lights of sound medical science and reason. And I am totally supportive and want to maintain this hospital as a public hospital. I'm no big whoop, but I'm blessed with many friends and many family who are Sarasota residents. And so I just want to send a message out to anyone who's hearing that if anyone tries to mess with a public hospital, like with the prices right, I will bring them down here and they will come down and they will make their feelings known. And that's not a threat, that's just a promise. And again, thank you for all of your hard work. This is my go-to hospital and always will be. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Laura Hartman, followed by Dr. Sherry Weinstein.
Good afternoon. My name is Laura Hartman. I do live in Eaglewood, and I live in the Charlotte County side of that. My father does receive care through VA community care here at this hospital.
Good.
And after saying that, last time I was at this meeting, you did put me in contact with a acknowledgement in the audience, Dr. Brown, who sent me an email. I reached out relating to the drug shortage here at Sarasota Memorial Hospital. So my father currently, well, in December, he randomly started getting really bad blood clots, and his health extremely declined very fast. So I transferred his care out of the VA system here to Sarasota Memorial Hospital. I just got a letter from the VA this week saying stop one of his medications because it's contaminated from the manufacturer. So I'm already concerned about that itself. So this hospital at least is better than my alternative option where we were at, and for that I am grateful. That being said, with the shortage of medication here at Sarasota Memorial Hospital, the physician that my dad is going to, it is out of his control. Dr. Brown has put me in touch, has put the entire hospital team in touch with my family, and for that I'm grateful. However, there's no drugs. He is still 8th on the list. So when there's a national shortage, there's 8 on the list, I don't care who has my name and phone number. The reality is we don't have the medication my father needs to stop the cancer growth that's metastasizing as we speak in his bladder. If the physician here at Sarasota Memorial Hospital, who my dad likes and wants to continue to work with, is using a medication that is off-label use, I'm like curious, is like, what is the standard protocol for the hospital administrative side when there's a national drug shortage to work with other hospitals in the area? I finished.
No, that's good.
That's my question.
Thanks for your question.
The drug itself is called BCG, and it's a tuberculosis drug, and it's used off-label to irrigate the bladder. And there's 8 people ahead of him. I'm not here advocating that my dad gets to jump the line and gets VIP treatment because they're trying to shut me down or silence me. I understand that as an option. I'm asking for the manufacturer to work somehow with the hospital to get the medication that clearly is needed. What else can I do? What would you do?
No, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Obviously, the cancer drug shortage throughout the U.S. has gotten a lot of press. And frankly, the first time I heard about it was when you brought it up, and I was more sensitive to it and have read a lot. I'm not sure. It's a huge problem.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
No.
So, and I don't, Caroline may know more details on this than I do, but I know the United States reached out and is working with China now to get more drugs over here. So we're hoping that that comes. It's not an SMH shortage, it's a national shortage. We work with everybody to try to get whatever medication we can to meet the needs, but there is a national shortage, I think, as everybody is well aware.
Laura, is there other issues? I know you mentioned the use of the off-label treatment.
So the physician, I did reach out to him and is unwilling at this time to use alternative treatments. That's not my business how he chooses to practice. I just know that I reached out to the VA and I'm working with an investigative team as well and filed IG reports for them to also look into the drug itself of why my dad is receiving contaminated drugs. So then it's just my decision, my family's decision, if we remove my father's care from this hospital and go to a Robotic treatment center, another type of facility. But again, knowing it's a national shortage and my dad prefers to stay here, that's the Achilles heel. But again, that is our complete choice and other awareness.
I understand.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming before us. Welcome back, Dr. Sherry Weinstein. The floor is yours.
Challenge. So I wasn't at the talk today, but I went up and rounded on one of my patients, and I'll say this, no doubt we've got excellent care here. I just transferred one of my patients from Manatee Memorial who had spoken at one of the board meetings, and he had, vegetarian, non-smoker, normal cholesterol, blood pressure, no family history, heart disease, etc., and ends up getting 2 of the COVID shots and ends up having very aggressive atherosclerotic disease requiring 3 stents. And within 6 months' time, all those 3 stents and another vessel are blocked. I admitted him here to the hospital. I have Dr. Hopper go work on him. Dr. Hopper has graciously accepted him as a patient. That gentleman wanted to be here to speak, and he asked me to speak on his behalf. So that being said, we need to be looking at the issues that I brought up on several board meetings about the pre-COVID vaccination cases of cancers, blood clots, heart attacks, strokes, neurodegenerative diseases. We can start with that. But these patients are telling you that they're having these problems. We are seeing these problems every day. And in our own community report, it was noted that we only reported 3 vaccine adverse events in 2 years' time, and that is unconscionable. Okay, we are seeing these adverse reactions day in and day out. The woman that spoke on her husband's behalf, bilateral DVTs up and down both of his legs, 2 heart attacks, a stroke, neurodegenerative changes, all kinds of things, 3 different cases of urosepsis, right after each of his shots. So it's not this isn't a conspiracy theory and this isn't a coincidence. We need to look at these data, and if we don't look at them, I wonder why don't we want to see it? Okay, why don't we want to look at that? It is law that we report vaccine adverse events to the CDC. If we're giving vaccines here, we need to be reporting vaccine adverse events, including each case of COVID that occurs after a vaccine is administered. That's a reportable incident. And we're not reporting that either. But how many cases of COVID have we seen in vaccinated? A lot. Hard to find that data in the charts. It's easier to find what the preferred pronoun is nowadays. Okay? So please find it in your hearts to do the right thing. Let's do these studies. Let's look at the pre-vaccination and post-vaccination data, and let's get some good studies done and present it nationally. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Langston. Is there anyone else who would like to address the board? I'll give everybody an opportunity to speak. And here, then we'll close the public comment. Thank y'all for sharing those thoughts with us. Let's, before we have the board comment, I'll ask under item number 14, are there any legal matters to be brought before the board?
Yeah.
Legal matters. Other business comments from board members? I think it's item 15. Any comments from board members? Well, I think the response from Ms. Hart, those cancer drug shortage really didn't pop up on my radar until she spoke a couple months ago. And I'd be curious if maybe our next meeting, if you could just have a short during your second, some commentary on what's happening there, how are we managing this? That if you go, if that's okay with that. Any other thoughts to come before the board? And motion to adjourn. So moved. Meeting's adjourned.